He called himself the Zodiac. He taunted police, toyed with the media, and claimed responsibility for a string of chilling murders. But here's the twist. Despite cryptic letters, coded ciphers, and decades of investigation, we still don't know who he was. This isn't just a murder mystery. It's a puzzle wrapped in fear, soaked in blood, and sealed with a mocking grin.
For the man known as the Zodiac Killer.
The cold case murder of a taxi cab driver in Oceanside could be tied to the Zodiac Killer.
Between 1968 and 1969, the Zodiac Killer terrorized Northern California. 5 confirmed victims, 2 survivors, dozens of letters, 4 ciphers. His crimes spanned multiple counties: Vallejo, Napa, San Francisco, sending waves of fear across the Bay Area. One of his letters ended with a chilling confession.
I like killing people because it's so much fun.
What made the Zodiac different wasn't just the murders. It was how he made them into a public spectacle. He inserted himself into the headlines, like a director behind a macabre stage play. In America, we were forced into the audience. This wasn't just crime, it was theater, a performance the entire country was forced to watch, and no one ever found the actor behind the mask. It started on December 20th, 1968, Lover's Lane, Vallejo, California. David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, high school sweethearts, were parked in a remote area, hoping for a quiet evening. They were found shot to death. They were found shot to death. Betty Lou was killed as she tried to run. David was shot point blank in the head. There was no robbery, no attempt at sexual assault, just cold, efficient violence. 6 months later, it happened again. July 4th, 1969, Darlene Farron and Mike Mageau were sitting in a car at Blue Rock Springs Park. A car pulled up beside them, then left. Moments later, it returned. A man stepped out with a flashlight attached to a pistol and opened fire. Darlene was hit multiple times and died. Mike survived, and what he described stunned investigators. The attacker didn't speak. He moved calmly, mechanically, as if rehearsed. Later that night, the Vallejo Police Department received a call. A man confessed to both attacks and gave precise details only the killer could have known. He also said,
I also killed those kids last year.
The Zodiac had just introduced himself. On August 1st, 1969, 3 Bay Area newspapers, the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, and the Vallejo Times-Herald, each received a nearly identical letter. Each included a third of a 408-character cipher. The Zodiac demanded all 3 papers print the ciphers on their front pages, or he would kill again, and the media complied. These weren't just letters, they were taunts, challenges, clues. The killer called himself Zodiac for the first time signing with a circle and crosshair symbol that would become his grim trademark.
This is the Zodiac speaking.
The cipher was cracked a week later by Donald and Betty Hardin, a schoolteacher and his wife. It revealed the Zodiac's twisted philosophy.
I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest, because man is the most dangerous animal of all. The best part of it is that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and all that I have killed will become my slaves.
But there was no name, no identity. The Zodiac had delivered a manifesto without a mask. Over the next few months, more letters followed. One claimed he'd rigged a school bus to explode. Another included a cipher that still hasn't been cracked to this day. He wrote like he wanted to be famous, and the worst part, he was. September 27th, 1969. Lake Berryessa. College students Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were enjoying a picnic by the water. A man approached them wearing a homemade executioner's hood with a crosshair symbol on his chest. He tied them up, then stabbed them repeatedly. Cecilia died 2 days later. Brian survived. And what he described was chilling. The killer narrated his actions out loud, almost like a performance. To make sure he got credit, the Zodiac called the Napa County Sheriff's Office and reported the crime himself. He even left a message carved into Brian's car door. 2 weeks later, the Zodiac moved into San Francisco. On October 11th, 1969, he shot cab driver Paul Stein in the affluent neighborhood of Presidio Heights. This time, in the city, witnesses saw the killer. A fingerprint was lifted from the taxi, but incredibly, due to a communication mix-up, police were mistakenly told to look for a black male suspect. The real killer walked right past 2 officers on the street and vanished. He would later send a piece of Paul Stein's bloody shirt to the Chronicle, proving he was still watching. Over the next 5 years, the Zodiac sent over a dozen letters. He claimed responsibility for 37 murders, though only 5 were ever confirmed. His final confirmed letter came in 1974. Then silence. So, who was he? The most famous suspect was Arthur Lee Allen. Everything seemed to fit except the evidence. DNA? Didn't match. Handwriting? Inconclusive. Prints? Nope. And then there's Gary Stewart, a man from Louisiana who spent over a decade investigating his own biological father. In his book, The Most Dangerous Animal of All, Stewart claims that his dad, Earl Van Best Jr., was the Zodiac. He pointed to physical resemblance, a criminal history, a name hidden in one of the Zodiac's ciphers, even the similarity in handwriting. But again, just like all the others, no conclusive proof. In 2021, a group called the Case Breakers named another suspect, Gary Francis Post. Military background, facial scars, lived in the right area, but even with all that, nothing definitive. There are countless other theories. That the Zodiac was a disgruntled codebreaker, a failed writer. Some even believe it was more than one person, or a group. Each new theory is a piece of the puzzle, but the center remains empty. It's been over 50 years. In that time, serial killers like BTK and the Golden State Killer have been unmasked through DNA and genealogy. but not Zodiac. His letters are still studied, his ciphers still debated. Entire books, documentaries, and forums are dedicated to decoding his identity. There's even a theory that he continued killing under a different alias, or simply stopped and faded into obscurity. Was he caught for another crime? Did he die? Or is he still alive? Watching these videos, reading Reddit threads, amused that we're still guessing, what do you think? Was the Zodiac a lone predator or something bigger? And will we ever truly uncover the truth behind the ciphers, the victims, and the man behind the mask? If you love dark history and unsolved mysteries, hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to Lost and Found, the past, for more stories that chill you to the bone. Thanks for watching. Stay curious and stay safe.